case. Okay, so what's in your collective memory from last week? I'll maybe ask the table to back for one thing anybody in the group remembered. All right. All right. Yeah. Okay. What about the PHP tags? Okay. So. Okay. Somebody this side of the room? Anything else you remember from last week we should add to our list? Right, so opening. Okay. We're in this side of the room. Remember anything from class last week we can add to the list? Okay. Oh, my code editor here is let's see. Doesn't want me writing script tags in here. Anybody back here? Anything else we should add to the list? Good. Okay, we tried that. We built a PHP file and I just opened it through my file system and none of the code executes when we do that. It has to be served from a server. So we can either use a local server or we could upload to a live server. Yep. Yep. Free. Yep. So for example, the one we used last week, and we'll use more of them today. So there was a PHP info built-in function that we used. We didn't have to create it. It just comes with the PHP. When PHP interpreter is installed on the web server, it automatically has a definition of what that function means. We'll use some of the other functions today. Anything else? I'm going to save this on Blackboard, so any other notes we put on here, you can reference them during the midterm. It'll be in the week 2 folder. Right, so PHP is what we call loosely typed. So we could create a variable called X, we could give it a value of ABC, then we could give it a value of false, then we could give it a value of January 1st, 2020. And PHP will allow us to do this, unlike other languages like Java or C#. We create X, we have to say when we create it, does it hold a string, a date, a number, a Boolean, and we can't change it. Okay. Anything else we should add? That's a very important point. Yep. I think so anyway. It's already happening. We're seeing more and more full JavaScript stack development and less PHP development, and I think that'll continue in the future. Which also means we're seeing more and more jobs for JavaScript developers. We've added more JavaScript into the program because our employers are saying, we used to have 1 JavaScript course, then we went to 2, and now we've gone to 3. In web and in computer programmer, we used to have no JavaScript courses. And then we added the Node course, and now we've added the client-side JavaScript course as well, because that's what employers are saying. We need people with JavaScript skills. Okay, that's a pretty good list. Anything else we should add before we close it? Yeah. Sorry? Yes. So we can use almost any kind of back-end database engine behind our PHP application. It has drivers and interfaces for all of them. Anything else you want to add to the list? Yep. Not all content management systems use PHP, but a lot of them, including WordPress, which is the biggest, it runs on PHP. Okay. All right, I think those are most of the important things we talked about last week. So I've just updated this item so you can always come back and refer to this, and you'll have access to it during the midterm. Maybe some questions that come out of it. Okay. So there's a few things we want to do today. Ultimately, what we're going to wind up doing eventually is we're going to look at how do we actually build a PHP page where we can capture information from a user and save that into our database. So maybe we want to register users, maybe we want to let people buy products, maybe we want to let them make comments on our site. In all of these, we're doing create data operations, right? Giving a user a way to enter information on the browser. We need to take that information, use PHP so that we can dump it into a database so that it's stored permanently. Next week, we'll look at, once we put data in, well, how do we read data out? How do we display to people what it is they want from our database? So there's a few things we'll need to do before we can save data. The first thing we need to do is we need to ensure that everybody knows how to connect to the web server. And so I want to go through that process. I've posted these instructions on Blackboard, but I want to go through it kind of step by step. We can get the connection set up. There's more work setting it up initially, and then less work using it moving forward. We want to make sure everybody can connect to the server, and we'll try putting the pages that we built last week, we'll make sure we can run them on AWS. Make sure everybody can do that. Then we're going to kind of talk about the process of what does the big picture look like of how saving data works. And obviously, before we can dump any data into a database, we have to figure out how do we connect our web application and our database up. They're two entirely separate applications. They need to be able to communicate, so there's a bit of a process for how they do that. So in order for us to be able to do this, you're going to need, in order for us to both connect to the AWS web server and connect to the database, you're going to need the credentials that would be in the email you got probably sometime early last week that have your credentials. Now, I think I mentioned this last week. We have added some additional security around our AWS server because we had dealt with last semester. So it used to be that your access to the web server, all you needed to do was put in the host, the username and password, and you can connect either to the database or to the web server. You should have, yes, you should have gotten a new email because we made some changes. I'm not even sure I don't think the old account. Okay. Now, have you tried it with the VPN connection? Yeah. And okay, so even connected to the VPN, you can't use the old connection anymore. Okay. If there's anybody who did not an AWS account, then you either let me know or you can send an email to cstech@georgiancollege.ca, say you're in my PHP class and you need an AWS account. You don't have one, and they'll set that up for you. So the first step, and I can really only demo this on Windows, but it's quite similar. I know some of you are on OS X. So the first thing to do is you need to open up this OpenVPN application. I sent out the instructions, I think, even before our first class, and they are on Blackboard. It's a free utility. If you did not install this, you need to do this now because you're not going to be able to connect to the web server without it. So if you did not install and configure your OpenVPN, it won't take very long, but you'll need to go into the Links, Tools, and Resources folder. And it's the very first item here. So this is our connection file. So you just download this file to your computer and then download and install OpenVPN if you're a Windows user. If you're a Mac user, TunnelBlick is the Mac equivalent. There's one little bug in this. It took me a while to figure out. I noticed that when I first opened it up, my icon would be here, but once the program was running, the icon would disappear. So if I wanted to disconnect or shut it down, I couldn't do that. There's a way to fix this. And the way to fix this is if you just right-click in your taskbar